Live from Lindy Stitch's studio of craftiness, it is I, Steph Webb, here to share with you some more interwebs cross-stitch chat on the YouTubes. I'm trying to mix up my intro. My name's Stephanie Webb. I design cross-stitch patterns under the name Lindy Stitches. You can find my work at lindystitches.com. But first, let's hang out. Let's talk cross-stitch, because cross-stitch is relaxing and cross-stitch is good. Welcome to my studio. The word studio sounds so much more impressive than office, doesn't it? This is my studio of creativity, and I'm literally in the middle of painting it. Do you want proof? I'm still wearing one of my favorite items of clothing, my paint pants. That's right, folks, they're all the rage. Paint pants. Use the same old pair of Adidas track pants literally every time you paint. Get paint on your hands? No worry, just rub them on your pants. Don't know what color you used last? Just check the paint pants. You can also embarrass your children by refusing to change out of them when they need a ride. Paint pants. Get yours today. So I was not planning on painting at all this week, and it just was a spontaneous decision. I've been putting off painting this room, which used to be a very uninspiring tan with basement lighting. You can imagine how unbelievably creative I felt in that kind of environment. You know, I had this like peach color swatch sitting here for a long time, and I was trying to talk myself into it, but eventually I just had to give up and realize I wasn't going to be able to pull off the peach. I want to. Maybe I'll paint one of the walls peach. That seems a little bit less intimidating than painting a whole room peach. I've never done like a pink. I don't know. I'm not sure. Like, I felt like it was a phase. Like, you love this color now, you will hate it later. So I gave up on the peach, and I made the very mature decision to just pick the color of this sticky note yesterday. I picked this color yesterday. I picked up this sticky note pad and said, yep, that'll do. Went to Lowe's, and ironically enough, chose the color Break Time, which is the same as the Post-it note. It's never break time in this room. It's always get to work time, but I love it. I love it. I've done many different mints and blues in my years of painting rooms, and I might think this is my favorite. It is really hard. It can be very hard to... I don't want to replace my wood trim. But when you've got this orangey wood trim, it can be hard to make it jive. You know, and you've got the orangey wood doors. But this color combo, this reads like, I feel like Renoir would be happy with me. He would be like, good job, Steph. That looks good. So moving on. Today I have 2 new releases to share with you. I have some projects I've been whacking away at. I have my Stitch Sania progress, and totally changed the project I was working on all this month. So can't wait to talk to you about that. I have some fabric acquisitions I'd like to share, and so let's get right into it. Let's start with new releases. This is a new release of mine. You can find it in my shop or with local or online needlework shops. Same with the next pattern that I'm going to show you. This is called Mermaid's May, and I have untied and retied this ribbon so many times that it's a wrinkly mess. So forgive me, but this is a little pin book, and I This was my first pin book I ever constructed. And I think it's adorable. I think it's adorable. And it was really fun to put it together, although fiddly, I will say. I chose some beautiful products from Lady.Creates. This is, I mean, I don't know why, but velveteen just floats my boat. And this is Shallot's velveteen. It's a... Look at, what? Apparently I have a one-track brain when it comes to pink. It's a peachy pink color. And this ribbon, I used this on ex-ghoul-friend. I just love it. It looks like a piece of seaweed. It's called Grubby Frog, which describes it perfectly. And then I just put a felt page in here. You could do 2 felt pages. You do 4 mini felt pages. It really doesn't matter. But this was a really fun project. It's called Mermaids May. And fish with googly eyes are almost as fun as stitching cat whiskers. I should put up a poll about that. Which one is more fun? Fish Google eyes or cat whiskers? And then... Okay, I just accidentally revealed to you that I haven't finished the backing on this. This is my 4th annual May bird sampler. I have released a bird sampler every May for 4 years. This is my 4th. Let's review. Let's say hi to my daughter Phoebe. So, as a brief history lesson, every May I've released a bird sampler with the 3 stipulations. Number 1, it has to have a gorgeous color palette that is fun to work with. Number 2, it has to have a bird. Duh. Number 3, a beautiful piece of poetry or a quote that you would be happy hanging on the wall for the rest of your life. Hopefully. The first bird sampler I released was Birds to the Boughs, and this remains one of my favorite pieces I've ever done. I set my color heart free on this one, and it is so precious to me. Quite a few widows have used Birds to the Boughs as a memorial piece toward their deceased husbands, and I don't know how much more I can take in my heart. That I'm so honored. And anyway, so number 2 is Stars Bright, and Stars Bright is also still one of my best sellers. It's well loved. It was inspired by a Granny Square Afghan. My words are getting away from me. That I found at a thrift store. Number 3 is Beautiful Things. And this too is well loved, and I see people stitching on it all the time. And this year, without further ado, is Tread Softly. And boy, I love how it turned out. I chose a barn owl for the bird, and the color palette is just so much fun. It has 2 Weeks Dye Works, and there's 3 dinky dyes in the owl itself and in some of the stars in the border. My model stitcher Lori stitched this up for me, and she did a gorgeous job. The poem is from William Butler Yeats. I will put the title of the poem on the screen because I'm not sure how to pronounce it. The poem itself is not very long. This is probably a third of the poem. But it says, "But I, being poor, have only my dreams. I've spread my dreams under your feet. Tread softly, because you tread on my dreams." And to me, this is a beautiful expression of the vulnerability of wholeheartedly loving someone. So this linen, I love the color. I had to search high and low for just the right shade, and this fit the bill. But I was a little hesitant because it is a Witchelt linen. It is called Mediterranean Sea. It's a 32 count. It also comes in a 16 count Ada, the same color. The reason I was hesitant is because I didn't have a lot of Witchelt linen in my stash, but I hear people talking about it as well, and there's not a lot of fans out there of Witchelt linen. The piece I had in my stash was an ivory 32 count, I think, and it was so stiff I could have put it under my bed. In case of a break-in in the middle of the night, I could have, you know, done this. And, you know, my attacker, I could have greatly hurt someone with it. I even rinsed it twice, thinking there was sizing or some sort of chemical in it, and it made it even sharper. So, look out. Look out, all you criminals. I've got Witchelt linen on my side. However, I had a color swatch of this color, so I ordered it hoping, like, I don't know what to hope for. And I will say all Witchelt linens they are not created equally. They're not created equally. This, when it came back from Lori, was really soft. And so some of them, I think, are softer than others and more workable than others. This one being one of them. It is stiff when you pull it out of the package, but if you work with it a little bit, it softens up. So I just wanted to say that because Witchelt does have some really unique colors. I could get them out of my stash right now and show you because I've ordered a broader selection of their colors because they are unique and obviously mass produced, so they're a little bit easier to get a hold of. This is turning into a real fabric, a real fabric rant. But if you are intrigued by a color of Witchelt linen, I would say go ahead and order it. It can be something that you really, really enjoy working with. So, all of that to say, here is Tread Softly. The frame is by Frame and Wire on Etsy. They have been doing quite a few of my models lately. Very grateful to them for working with me because they make really beautiful frames. So there you go. It's in my shop and also in other needlework shops online and in person. Thanks for looking at it. I appreciate it. Moving on, I had a couple weeks before May started where I was stitching on other things and hadn't started my Stitch Sania plan. So I'm going to show you those projects now because I made a little bit of progress. I stitched for a little while on Long Dog Samplers, the Templar Prophecy. I'm stitching this on 36 count Picture This Plus Fog linen with Silks for You PR 124. And I feel like I'm going to be working on this for an eternity. But here is where I am. Since you saw it last, I added like these flower lines on the bottom, which truth be told is not a whole lot of stitching, but it kind of sections off a big spot, so it looks like a big section, even though it's mostly negative space. I'm struggling with motivation on this one. Struggling. I don't know, maybe it's because it's the piece that I gave myself tennis elbow with. It's also a little bit the Picture This Plus linen. Since I switched to stitching in hand, Picture This Plus has been a bit of a struggle for me, especially if it's over 32 count, because I find their linen very thick and the holes are harder to see and find and maneuver. You know, so if I have the choice between, like, if I gave an hour to this project and I gave an hour to a project on 32 count vintage country mocha, I will make double the progress on the vintage country mocha because it's so much easier to see. And yeah. I think that can really slow you down when you can feel yourself going slow. So that's where that one's at. The other piece is also 36 count Picture This Plus, and it's even worse because it's dark. This is Haunted, and it is my Huckleberry farm. I started this last year during Stitch Sania, and I missed this project. I did try stitching on it in hand a couple times, and I couldn't do it. I could not see. I could not see. So I gave up and put it in the frame and said, Elbow, suck it up, because this is what we're working on. I just think this is so pretty. So pretty. So I put in that squirrel or chipmunk, and I filled in my butterfly, put in that basket or bowl of berries, and I started my alphabet. Also worked on the side border. This is just such a wonderful, wonderful project. It's so pretty. It makes me so happy to look at it. I am stitching this using all of Janine's suggestions. However, I did sub some of the DMC with an overdyed, just to make it a little bit fancier and a little bit more fun for me. Just, you know, I decided to fancy it up. That's what happened with that one. Let's talk about what happened with Stitch Sania, because, wow, you know, this basement lighting is really highlighting all my white hair. Like, look, I'm 20. I'm a mature woman with my hoary hairs. You can tell I'm a mature woman because when I stood back up from picking something up, I went, oh. Okay, so, long story short, I decided I was going to work on, well, okay, Stitch Sania really, really quickly is my plan for May, where I pull out an old whip and I work on it during the week, and if I'm responsible and put work into that old whip during the week, I have a new start on the weekend. So this month I am hopefully, although I feel like I'm already behind this week, hopefully I'm going to start 4 new things this month. We shall see. So I had decided in my Stitch Sania video, I was going to work on a project I had from Heartstring Samplery, and it is over 1 on 25 count, and I tried, and I just couldn't do it. I think I tried for 1 day, and I was like, there's no way this is going to happen all month. There's no way. So I switched projects, and I'm happy that I did because I'm enjoying this one. This is called Red Troublemakers. It is a full coverage project by RTO. The artwork is from Maria Pavlova, and it's just gorgeous. This is like my favorite colors. Like, remember I was talking about this combo? That's what I'm talking about. Orange, mint. Oh, this is so pretty. So here is where I am. My goal each week is to finish 1 diagonal all the way down. I'm working this diagonally. The diagonals are getting bigger each time. So I think this was like 12, I'd have to count them, whatever. It's like about 1,200 stitches. So it wasn't too bad. I did maybe 2 squares a day, and it was a lot of fun. I think everybody should try full coverage stitching at one point. You might find it really enjoyable. It's kind of addicting once you get into it. If you like doing puzzles, it kind of feels the same way. I don't know. There's something very satisfying about this type of stitching that is different than other types of projects. So I wanted to tell you what all these strings are because I get asked, I'm assuming by people that aren't familiar with full coverage projects or what parking is, but all of these colors are, all these extra threads are called parked threads. They are parked in the next stitch that uses that particular color. It's a way for you to easily, it just makes it easier to move along in the project because then you're not cutting off the threads and reinserting them all the time. They are just moved. I don't know if you can see that. So these are all squares I haven't worked on yet, but they're just moved to where they need to be when I get there. So I'm doing 10 by 10 squares. So what do? And yes, I'm going to scandalously show you the chart. What I do when I start my next 10 by 10 square is I look at the highlighted squares, and those threads are already parked and ready for me to do all the stitches in that color. And then if I have thread left over and there's a nearby spot that I can park it, I move it over and highlight the square. It's very simple. It's a little bit messy, but I don't find it too challenging. I have mine broken up into 3 different groups, and I just unravel it and straighten them out and stitch away, and it's a lot of fun. So here's my progress shots from the last week, what it looked like before and what it looks like now. I just really like working on this. Would you like to see what I started? Of course you would. I started Periwinkle Angel Pants, also known as Elizabeth Iles by the Scarlet Letter. And I really must not have some sort of cognitive function where I understand inches or something. You know, it's like, this was very shocking to me. It's 14 inches wide by 17 inches tall, which should mean something to me. So that when you stitch the top border, you're not going, look how huge. I was shocked at how huge this is. Shocked, I tell you. And there's going to be an angel in all those little dips and rises. Like a big angel. And this is going to take up this whole piece of fabric. I don't know why, but I have some sort of blockage where I'm like, this isn't this, what, 14 inches. What does that mean? It means this. Look how big this this is gonna be a huge, huge piece. I don't know what my problem is. Like, I thought this was like a dainty little piece of needlework. I don't know. Maybe I need to go back to school. But I am enjoying working on Elizabeth Iles, and I'll enjoy stitching 42 giant angels, I guess. There's worse things in life that could happen. Really quickly, I would like to show you some fabric haul that I got. I could show you twice the amount because I put a good size order in with Fabric on a Whim and also Seraphim. So this video, I'm going to show you the pieces that I got from Fabric on a Whim. This is my first experience with them. I haven't stitched on their fabric yet, but it feels good. It looks good. I got some great colors here. So let's really quickly go through them. This is espresso. That looks pretty good. Doing okay with basement lighting. I got everything in 32 count linen. This is a medium brown, and you can see it has like some greenish, yellowy greenish modeling. It's really pretty. And, you know, sometimes I get fabric in, I'm like, yeah, don't know how fast that's gonna move into actually being stitched on, because it just, you know, wasn't what you thought it was. This piece, I can see myself using this for sure. Colors are gonna pop. Colors are gonna pop off this. Here's some random DMC. See? See what I mean? That's very versatile. This one's a little more intense. This is called Ivy. This reminds me of a certain Picture This Plus color, but I can't remember which one. Hold please. This is gonna be like makeup dupes. I hope this isn't like in bad form to like compare different fabric dyers, because I know no one purposely copies another fabric dyer. But this reminds me, it reminded me of this, which is Lagoon, and for some reason my camera's blowing this color out, but not this color, when they're kind of the same color. Whatever, there it is. This is called Cafe All Lot. I go to the cafe a lot, and it is a lighter version of one of their coffee colors. Very usable. Kind of looks like a brown paper bag. In a good way. This color is called Stream. And there we go. It is a medium denim blue. This one is gorgeous. This one is called Night Sky, and it is dark, but I can see it. You know, I can see it, and I could stitch on this in hand. Like, I can tell just by looking at it that it is dark. It's 32 count. Like, I'm not looking at a 40 count, so, but it's not super shrunken. And this one's my favorite. This is called Silver Fox, and it is gorgeous. This reminds me of People, we gotta wrap this up because I'm losing my ability to speak. This is Sterling. Picture This Plus Sterling. I stitched Stitch for Sweet Freedom on this color, and it is one of my favorite colors. It is like a silvery green. It's just gorgeous. This is called Silver Fox. Yes, please. Alright, so more Stitch Sania to come. I gotta get back to my project. As you can see, I'm working hard on the old house, and I need to get back to painting because I can see my roller and I can see it drying as I'm chit-chatting away. So I'm gonna wrap this up. Thank you so much for spending time with me, friends. I really appreciate you. I hope that you're having a fantastic May, and I will see you again, hopefully, fingers crossed, next week. Talk to you later. Bye.
We are Lindy Stitch's biggest fans. We support her in everything she does, especially this one. Little do you know, he ghost designs all of her designs. She doesn't do anything original, it's just him. He agrees.